Welcome back to beautiful Titusville here and the Florida Rugby Union 2025 State Championships. We're getting ready for our second game of the day, and it should be a doozy. Bay Area Pelicans D2, the top side in Division 2 this season, against the number 2 seed Fort Lauderdale Knights. What a run they've been on the last few weeks. We'll have Pellies in navy and Fort Lauderdale in white. We're ready to go here in the next couple of minutes, just getting themselves sorted. Our referee for this one will be Jason Browning, with Scott Duval, our assistant referee, on the near side, and Kyle Van Deventer on the far side. Our fourth official tonight is John Selden. My name's Ross Davenport. Thanks for joining us here on the FCC YouTube channel. First game was a win for Brevard earlier today. They defended their D3 state championship with a 33-15 win over Pelicans D3. Mentioned a perfect day for rugby here in Titusville at the Gibson Sports Complex. There was a bit of a breeze. It's picked up as the morning has gone on, going from left to right, so Pellies will have the breeze in this first half. I apologize for these Fort Lauderdale numbers. They are very, very difficult to see. White numbers with a thin blue outline on a white jersey. We'll try and help you identify some of these players as this game goes on, but these numbers are not our commentator's friend. Thank you to Pellies for having yellow numbers on navy jerseys. Kicking off for Lauderdale, I know this man, Harry Sadoun, the Frenchman. For Lauderdale with a ton of very dangerous players. Keep an eye on Sean Nicol at the 13. Mikel Facey, the Jamaican international, at fullback, and we're underway in the D2 final. Big early run by Nico DeSabatino of the Pellies, as Jarrett Barton, the number 9, goes deep, and here's Facey. Don't let this man run. As you can see what he can do here in the first 30 seconds. Mikel Facey, I said don't let him run, and for Lauderdale aren't listening. Apparently it's Facey with a good 30-yard gain. Into contact goes Luis Cruzado, the 20-year-old number 8 for Fort Lauderdale. Possession here just inside the Pellies half. Again, these numbers are almost impossible to see if they're on the other side of the field, so I apologize. I'm a little vague when it comes to these kinds of things, as Adrian Suarez, the 20-year-old Venezuelan scrum half, goes deep. Got a man down already for Pellies, and around the halfway mark. That is Nico DeSabatino, the center. Trainer is on, as the ball's kicked over his head all the way back to Harry Sadoun, and we're going to have a stoppage in play real quick here. Jason Browning was mentioned, our official for this one from the Orlando area. It is DeSabatino getting his, looks like he has some blood on the face. See if we perhaps have a blood substitution here. It'll be an early one for the Pellies, who saw their D3 side lose in the first game of the day. Certainly had their chances early in that second half with possession and territory down in the Brevard end, but just couldn't turn it into points. In the end, lose 33-18, and looks like we are going to have a blood sub. DeSabatino with the knock to the head. Looks like Mitch Houston will come off the bench
21.
as a blood substitute for De Sabatino at the inside center spot. And we'll restart here with a scrum for Fort Lauderdale just outside their own 22. First scrum of the day. We saw the scrum was a big impact in the second half of that previous game. Pelly's dominating Brevard in that area, but again, couldn't turn it into dominating on the points side of things. Fort Lauderdale in white, with the unfortunate white numbers. And Pelly's in maybe, as a reminder, yellow numbers. Big scrum for the Pellies, and they turn that ball over. Here goes Shaq Stewart. Goes left with that one. Jarrett Garton, the scrum half, over to Keegan Barmore, the hooker, into the Fort Lauderdale 22. That ball goes loose. Not sure how it got loose. Not sure if Jason Browning. It's a big collision there. Quick ball, Garton now. Andrew Cook on the carry, the man from Wales. Good quick ball. Garton now, out wide. Keegan Barmore, the hooker again, playing 10. He's everywhere, Barmore, so far. 9, 10, wherever you want him. Here's Andrew Cook again, taken down. Good defense so far from Fort Lauderdale here. Here's Arush Marenkovic, the man from Belgrade, Serbia. Big second row. Zach Hatraff, 39-year-old fly half. That's loose there. They're claiming it went off a Fort Lauderdale player. Don't think it was intentional. It will just be a scrum. Ball was knocked into touch by Fort Lauderdale, so Pelly is with the scrum line-out option. And they will go for a scrum. I'm not sure if that was a wise decision after how that first scrum went, but we'll see here. Front row for Pelly's, Zemmer, Barmore, and the man Bryce from USF. Rocky Miates at loose head for Fort Lauderdale, former Cardinal Gibbons head coach. Nick Cook and Christian Gonzalez. Going to be a big front row battle to watch in this one. You see Felipe Betancourt, the Cuban missile, in the back line here. We'll see if he gets the ball. He does. Felipe Betancourt. Big tackle by Sean Nickel, the inside center, former UCF man, national champ with them on 2 occasions. Back playing this year with Fort Lauderdale. Pelly's looking for space, left side. Barmore taken down. Here's Betancourt again. He's a big physical presence at that 6 spot. As they go wide, Shea Wagner, former Free Jacks U23 Academy man. Keep an eye on him tonight at the 13th spot. Carvajal into contact, the fullback, former UCF man. Pelly's with a good spell of possession here. Can they turn it into points? Colby Clayton with the carry. He's down, perhaps a high tackle. Yes, that's the signal from Jason Browning. It's right in front of the posts here, about 26, 27 meters out. See if Pelly's choose for some early points. Seems that is the decision, and it will be. And it will be Shea Wagner. As you mentioned, 24-year-old from Freeport, Maine. Played his college rugby at the University of Maine. Also played for Mystic River. Free Jacks U23 Academy. Certainly one to keep an eye on. He's a left-footed kicker. Look to open the scoring here for the Bay Area. Well struck, and right through the posts. So just about 6 minutes into this one, 3-0 Pellies with the penalty kick by Shea Wagner. So we have the blood sub reversal perhaps coming back in. Nico De Sabatino now with his head wrapped up. The inside center took a bang early. He is back on with Mitch Houston going back to the sideline. As the kickoff goes right to De Sabatino, no rest for the weary for him as the big inside center quickly back on the carry. Pelly's with certainly the heavy edge in early possession after that big run by Facey in the first couple of minutes. It's been all Pelly since then. There's the chip over the top by Garton. One scrum half to another. There's Adrian Suarez, former state champion with Okapi. A number of players on this team from that Okapi youth program. Is Harry Sadoun, the captain, slips it back inside. Michael Heil, another Okapi product. Here's Sadoun deep in the saddle. He'll knock this one into Pelly's territory. Pelly's will return the favor. Carvajal, and it will be players not retreating. And now here goes Facey. Off to the races. Facey off to the races. He skips back inside looking for help. And a player on the ground from Pelly's making a tackle there. Lauderdale take it quick again. Suarez. Inside the 5 meter line of the Pelly's. Now perhaps almost over the line, driven back. Is Aspen. Zachary Austin. Excuse me. Into the corner. Lauderdale trying to get it over the try line. And this one is going to come back for the offside. Jason Browning, no sign of even a chat just yet. See what Fort Lauderdale decide to do here. Aspen Hansen that was with the carry. And a worrying moment here for Fort Lauderdale as down on the ground receiving attention for what looks like it could be a cramp is their star fullback Mikkel Facey. He is back on his feet though.
Oh, he's going to chat now.
And we'll go with a quick tap for Lauderdale, just a few meters out, held up, short of the goal line, trying to get it over there. There's some hands up. Jason Browning's taking a look at it. He's going to say it was held up. So will be a goal line dropout. Big defensive stand there for the Pellies. Lauderdale were knocking on the door. Pellies shut it closed for now. Not the greatest of drop kicks by Zach Catriff. Here comes Facey again. We'll see how his legs are feeling. Just shrugging off tacklers. Jason Browning says it went backwards. Pelly's trying to counter ruck effectively, and they do. Turn the ball over. There's nobody back deep for Fort Lauderdale. Will Jarrett Garton notice? No, he won't. Heading back there now is Harry Sadoun. As Hatchruff will probably just put this one to touch. You mentioned 39-year-old from St. Louis, Missouri. Played for the Bombers, the Hornets, as well as D1 Missouri Bears. Garton's kick not the best. He does find touch at the halfway line. And it will be a Pelly's throw, as was per the first game. Both teams going with the short line out. This will be a four-man affair for the Bay Area. No contest. Well, so we're going to have a redo here. The question is if it was straight, but there was no contest from Fort Lauderdale. The new laws say you can get away with that now. This one a little straighter and contested, but still not straight enough. Throw from Keegan Barmore, the 27-year-old from Kentucky, not good enough. And it will be a 50-meter scrum here. for Fort Lauderdale. And keep an eye on Sean Nichols here. Sean Nichol, excuse me, at inside center for Fort Lauderdale. We'll have to run him on those straight runs. Played in Australia for a while. Came back now, 35 years old. Member of that UCF double title winning team. Pelly's putting the pressure on. Picked up at the back here by Luis Cruzado, the former Okapi man. Spent some time at St. Thomas University as well. We'll see them later in the D1 final. Here's Nichol with those straight runs. A great tackle. There's a penalty advantage here for Fort Lauderdale as well. Lauderdale with some good momentum here. Can they get inside the 22? Suarez on the snipe. Sadoun. Gonna get it in the hands of this man, Mikel Facey. Jason Browning almost gets nailed. Somehow gets away with it, our referee. He's Hansen now. Down the line, go for Lauderdale. Cuts back inside.
11.
Shaden Delaney, the man from Trinidad. Stopped short though. Pelly's defense holding strong once again. That's a stiff tackle from Pelly's, driving Fort Lauderdale back. Suarez to Sadoun. He decides to switch the angle of attack. Back to Hansen. He's taken down there. Some Lauderdale players coming in from the side. No call from Jason Browning though. Sadoun. Good possession here for Lauderdale. Here's Facey.
4.
It will be a penalty now, and here comes a warning
Double tap.
at minimum.
Double whistle blast.
Yeah, we are stopping play here. Jason Browning having a word with the captain.
Oh, no. 13, yellow card.
And it will be a yellow card.
Number 13.
Shea Wagner, importantly, the place kicker for Pelly's, will go off for 10 minutes. The man responsible for the only points in this game so far. So Pelly's down to 14 already. Less than 15 minutes into this one. Come Fort Lauderdale looking to take advantage. Sean Nichol taken down. He still does manage to get it off though, and it will be a try. Get your number when we can, once he turns around, if we can see these white numbers, but Lauderdale taking immediate advantage of the extra man, spinning it wide. I think it may have been Javier Bazan, I think, with the try. Yeah, number 13, Javier Bazan, the man from Argentina, with the first try of this game. Will be Harry Sadoun for the conversion attempt. Sadoun with a difficult kick here. It's a little breezy. Struck that one well though, sneaks it inside the post. And it's an early 7-3 lead for the Knights. Pelly 7-1-0 on the season. Lauderdale 5-2-1. They had the big win over the Hammerhead, 73-29 in the semi-final. When these two teams met back in early February, it was a 55-19 win for the Pelicans, but this is a much different Fort Lauderdale team now. On a roll of late. Put 48 up on Palm Beach, 54 on Orlando, 41 on Boca. They can score in bunches. And with the first try on the board here today is Hatraf with the kickoff. Deep into Lauderdale territory. Sadoun gets it eventually. He will put it close to the touchline and into touch. Around about the 10-meter line. Jarrett Garton thought about going quick with it, but changed his mind. And it will be a Pelly's line out on the Fort Lauderdale 10-meter line. Spoke to Rod Terra this week. He said he knows the weight of this Pelly's pack. He wants to counter their carries. It's an advantage for Lauderdale, but now it's coming back for a penalty for the Pellies. Certainly too far out, you would think, for a penalty kick attempt by Hattriff. Pellies will certainly look to slow things down here. A man down right now with the yellow card to Shea Wagner. Garton shanks that one a little bit. Will be a Pelly's throw just inside the Lauderdale 22. So we're going to go for a full line out. We didn't see many of those in the first game today. It was all 4 and 5 man. That's a good snag there by Colby Clayton, man from Philadelphia. Andrew Cook with a good gain. Lauderdale looking to poach it though, and they may have done so. Pelly scrambling back on defense here. Sadoun, he'll clear it downfield. Right to Hattriff. Well, took a nice little bounce in favor of Sadoun. Hattriff now will spin it. Carvajal. That was a forward pass, almost. Siraj Ali now on the carry. Up to the 10-meter line. Good quick ball for Pellies. The man with the USA scrum cap into contact. There's Barmore. He's been around the ball a ton here in the first 18 minutes. Colby Clayton again. Good heavy carries by this pack. The little chip over the top. I was looking for Austin Fernandez, but we'll roll into touch. Nice little chip by Garton, just a little too much on the bounce. Any chance for Fernandez to get on the end of it. Graham Canute, the head coach for the Pellies. We had a good chat this week. Played for the Ospreys as well as the Stormers. Some top-level rugby played by Graham Canute. And it's turned over here. Arush Marinkovic with the steal at the line out, and then a good carry by Cook. 10 meters out now. Looking to get this lead back. This one goes all the way out to Carvajal. Dragged down there. Great counter ruck by Lauderdale. They may have turned this one over. Yes, they have. No, but Jason Browning says it's going to be a penalty at the breakdown. Didn't see the secondary signal. It looked like a good counter ruck initially. Garton will just nudge this one into touch. Catch and drive opportunity here for Bay Area. They're going with the 4-man line out though. They look to drive it over, and it's a good maul. Lauderdale scrambling. They may have brought that one down. No signal though. And it will be a turnover ball. It was a maul. Lauderdale did a good job initially and just got on top of the ball once it did collapse. Question how it got to ground. There will be a Fort Lauderdale scrum. They try to clear their lines here. See if the Pellies can put some pressure on at this scrum. Knights holding strong though, they'll pick up off the back. That was Cruzado, I think. And it will be a turnover. Cruzado went off without enough support, and you'd have to think here the Pellies, although their kicker is off the pitch, they're going to take the scrum instead. With the kicker off the pitch in the form of Shea Wagner, you'd think perhaps they would have had a backup option with enough of a boot to make what would have been a relatively easy kick, only perhaps 7 or 8 meters outside the post, but instead they're going to go for the scrum and try and find 5 points. Let's see if it's for Lauderdale's turn to put some pressure on this Pelly's front row. And they are putting that pressure on Fort Lauderdale. But it will be a penalty in favour of the Pellies. Perhaps, yeah, boring in, says Jason Browning, on that tight head side for Fort Lauderdale. And now they're going to go a scrum again. Interesting decision here for the Pellies again. They're trying to get this 10 minutes over with so they can get Shea Wagner back in this game, their kicker.
Surely kicking and learning a minute would be just as effective.
So let's do this again. Keep an eye on these front rows. After this put in from Garton. Good strong scrum there by Pellies. Andrew Cook, right side, gets to the gain line. Back inside to Clayton. He's scythed down. Now they'll go back right again. Carvajal trying to get into the corner. Will he get there? Yes, he will. Carvajal with the second try of the day for, the first try of the day for Pellies, answering Fort Lauderdale's try. And down a man. Pellies find pay dirt. So we'll see who it is going to be. Zach Hattriff, the backup kicker, who will attempt certainly the most difficult kick we've seen today. He's maybe 3 feet inside this right touchline. Like Wagner, also a lefty, so it does favour him from this side. Hattriff strikes it well, but it was always heading right of the posts. So the score will remain 8-7 in favour of Bay Area. Trying to see if Wagner has made his way back on yet. Doesn't appear so. Yeah, still a man down, Pellies, at least for another couple of minutes. So Sadoun will get things restarted here. 16 minutes to go in this first half of the D2 Florida State Championship game. Di Sabatino, who was off for some blood earlier in this half, he's back on now. Garton looking for the kick downfield. Sadoun is back there, judges it well, takes it well, beats a man. Almost beats a second man, not held in the tackle. Good poach attempt there by Shaq Stewart, the captain for Pellies, as he turns that one over. A man out of Cape Town, South Africa, and Palmer College, with a big turnover jackal there. Pellies line out here, 30 meters or so out from the Fort Lauderdale try line. Looking to continue the momentum here. They just got with that try in the corner by Carvajal. Good line out. On the run there is Cook. being heavily used on the carries here so far today, Andrew Cook. See Sabatino, he's a big man to bring down. Bus at the 12 spot. And that's a good poach attempt there by Sean Nicol. Keegan Barmore went into contact with the ball and just didn't have enough support. Nicol was there for the poach. And a chance here for Harry Sadoun to perhaps get Lauderdale out of their own half. So we'll be a line out here just inside the Pelly's half. Shout out Graham Canoop did say there would be some fans watching in South Africa, so shout out to those of you in the Southern Hemisphere watching this one on YouTube. Rough line-out throw, but it goes over the top, and I think that's Rocky Miates on the run. Dived on by Hattriff. It was knocked on though before that, and a little chip by the front row man. Former Cardinal Gibbons coach showing he's still got the skills. I'm not sure how happy Rod Otero would be to see his prop kicking the ball over the top. Of course, talked to Graham kind of about his success at False Bay, taking that team up the leagues in South Africa. And they've had a ton of early success here with Pelicans since taking over in the Bay Area. That's a big shove by his boys as they turn that one over. Picked up at the back by Stewart. Garton now. He'll just deposit that one downfield. It's grabbed there by Shaden Delaney, but we'll come back for a penalty. Pellies are now back to 15 men with Shea Wagner returning. Graham Canoop told us to keep an eye on that man, Shea Wagner. Nice little addition from a former MLR academy. It's good when you can add those kinds of talents. 12 minutes remaining here in the first half. Ross Davenport with you. Thanks for joining us on YouTube, wherever you are. Almost 150 people watching on the YouTube channel. If you want to shout out where around the world you're watching. I see the British Virgin Islands. I know we got some South Africans on there too. Here's the Cuban missile, Betancourt. Hattriff puts this one up and under. Facey shrugging off tacklers. 7s and 15s captain for Jamaica a couple of years ago. Also the youngest player ever to score in the World Rugby Sevens World Cup. And Hansen now with a half break. Off the hands of Cruzado and backwards. And we'll just come back for a previous knock on, says Jason Browning. And it will be Pelly's ball last 5 minutes here. Been a little stop-start in Titusville. Temperature starting to creep up into the 70s. Or close to it. 68 still here. What a beautiful day. Can't get any better than this when it comes to Florida rugby. It's in the mid 80s last weekend, here now in the high 60s up here in Titusville. Pellies with the 1 point lead here, 10 minutes remaining or so in this first half. It's been a very tight affair. Garton with the little kick through. Facey's on the run. Coming over very casually, ball bouncing a little precariously. That little sidestep. He's dragged down there by Siraj Ali. And now turned over again. Shackleton Stewart's having himself a game so far here today. And he's won himself a penalty. Now, Lauderdale didn't like that decision. I think it was Michael Hale that was penalised. Now, the left-footed kicker in Shea Wagner. He's not coming over though. Perhaps they're going to go for touch again. Turned a potential three-point opportunity down earlier when Wagner was off in the sin bin. It certainly would have been a makeable kick for the lefty from this side of the pitch, but they'll kick it to touch instead and look to put some more pressure on this Lauderdale line out. There's the throw, and it's turned over by Lauderdale. Hale making up for his mistake and winning that line out. Monster win, and it will be a penalty here. I think it goes against Shackleton. Stewart. Offside, the decision on Stewart. As Harry Sadoun knocks this one downfield but doesn't make touch. Can the Pelicans make him pay? Ali cuts back inside, breaks the tackle. Only one tackle though. Taken down there by Suarez, I think that was the scrum half. Chance for the big man from USF, Bryce, on the run here. Now out wide, Stewart. Barmore, he loses the ball forward. It comes off the leg of Hansen. Decision of hands in by Jason Browning. Sure, the ruck was formed. Harry Sadoun will calm things down here. Last few minutes have been a little hectic as Zach Hattriff goes to regain his mouth guard, which he lost just now. So safe touch made by Lauderdale. Just inside the Pelly's half. In under 8 minutes or so remaining here. Official time always kept on the field as always by the referee. Got some shout outs in the chat. Queens, New York, Japan, New York, Decatur, Illinois, Germany, Seattle, Canada. Great stuff. I bet the Canadians wish they were down here. A lot of Canadians will be down in Florida next weekend, of course, for Tropical Sevens up in Tampa. Suarez with the hesitation, dummy. Perhaps was the right decision. Pelly's backline was flying up in defense. Lauderdale keep it tight now. Still a 1 point game here. That's tight as well, the score. Sadoun spins it wide. Nickel out wide to Facey. Risky pass by Facey, and it's resulted in a turnover ball. And got into touch here. We got a player down for the Pellies. We'll have a stoppage in play. Ready to restart play here with the Fort Lauderdale line out. They're going to go to the back. Good claim there. That's a big carry by that big man. Now out to Sadoun. Out the back to Nickel. Breaks one tackle. Brought down in the end by Cook. Here's Hansen now. Fort Lauderdale are breaking one tackle, but not the second one. Here's Nickel again. Double teamed to the ground by the Pelly. That's a big tackle there by Shea Wagner. Lauderdale going backwards here. The rookie Miates up with it again. Gains another couple of meters over the Pelly's 10-meter line. Sadoun, that's a sloppy pass. Oof. It was almost turned over. It's going to be a race for this one. Hattriff and 4 Lauderdale players. Hattriff goes down. He was played off the ball by a Fort Lauderdale player. Pelly is perhaps asking for a penalty try. There was plenty of Lauderdale players back though. Jason Browning deciding that Hattriff was played off the ball by a Fort Lauderdale player. So penalty in a very similar position to the one they had a few minutes ago. Will they take the scrum decision this time? Jason Browning appears to say that, and it will be a yellow card for the pullback on the shoulder by Harry Sadoun. So the captain and fly half and kicker off for Fort Lauderdale with 4 minutes 18 left in this first half. Professional foul in the eyes of referee Jason Browning. Pellies will take the scrum decision once again. Andrew Cook at the 8 spot right now. We'll see if he decides to pick and go. Pellies with a good shove. Garton spins it to Hattriff. Back inside to Carvajal, the try scorer earlier. Doesn't get to the try line in this one, and the pass goes right into the hands of Shaden Delaney. Lauderdale turn the ball over inside their own 22. But then Pellies earn themselves a penalty. Holding on is the call. Now will they take the points? They've given up a number of opportunities to put points on the board, have the Pellies. They're only up 1 here with 3 minutes or so remaining. Now they're thinking about going for points, and they will. Interesting decision here from the incorrect side for a left-footed kicker. Well, they turned down chances from exactly the same spot on the other side, which would have favored the left foot of Shea Wagner. So Shea Wagner was off for 10 minutes earlier for a yellow card decision. Look to make this a 4-point game. Wagner's kick on the way, struck true and through. Makes it 11-7 in favor of the Pellies. It's been a very tight first half. I mean, 18 points scored so far. By my clock, we have a couple of minutes remaining, maybe a little more than that, due to a couple of yellow cards. Delaney with the drop kick deep into Pellies 22. Hattriff will take it there and return a beautiful kick off the hands of Javier Bazan, but keeps it in touch. Now trying to get it in the hands of this man, Facey. Cuts back inside. Pellies do a good job of not letting him get past that first tackle though. Get that one early run. A couple of good early runs, Facey. Has mostly been held in check, considering what a dangerous man he can be. Cruzado maybe gets across the gain line. Out to Nickel, going backwards. Not where that man wants to be, but he can get going forwards quickly, and here he goes, Sean Nickel. Over the 40, Sean Nickel stretching those legs, only got Carvajal to beat. Carvajal can't bring him down. Sean Nickel, what a run by the former UCF center. He had to go backwards to pick up the pass, and then turned it going forward very quickly, going downhill and all the way in for the try. Gives Fort Lauderdale a 12-11 lead now. Said how well Pellies had tackled all game, not on that play. Sean Nickel made them pay. And maybe the last play of the half, as the horn goes off, we also may have some time added on at the end. It will be Facey with the conversion attempt because Sadoun is in the bin. See if Facey can slot this through. They say no, do the assistant referees, and that will be the end of our first half here in the Florida D2 men's title game Your score at the break: Fort Lauderdale 12, St. Pete Bay Area Pelicans 11, thanks to that last second try by Sean Nicola. A good 50+ meter run by the 35-year-old. Ross Devonboy here with you. We'll be right back with the second half in 10 minutes or so. See you then. Ross Davenport back here with you as we get ready to start the second half of this D2 Men's Florida Championship game. Fort Lauderdale, thanks to a late try, right at the whistle by Sean Nicol, have a 12-11 lead as we go to the second half here in beautiful Titusville. Lauderdale are also down to 10 men. Harry Sadoun still on the bench for the pullback on the attempted kick through by Zach Catriff, who will kick us off here to start the second half. Just waiting on our officials to get into place. Jason Browning, our center official, Scott Duval on the far side now, and Kyle Van Deventer on the near side here. As I said, Lauderdale down to 10 men, down to 14 men. Sorry, not doing soccer today. Thanks to Harry Sadoun yellow, and he would have been the kicker on that conversion attempt. It would have given Lauderdale a 3-point lead. Instead it was Mikhail Facey, and he missed the conversion attempt. We'll see if that comes back to haunt them later. Once again, I apologize for the player identification issues with Fort Lauderdale wearing the white numbers on white jerseys. Not the best decision. As Facey, the Jamaican international, will clear the ball downfield here. What a boot. Good catch though by Carvajal. Oh, Carvajal almost knocked that forward. Chip over the top by Wagner, a man who found himself in the bin in the first half. Here's Hansen now. Nicol again. Sean Nicol dropping the shoulder and the boob on Nico De Sabatino. We've seen that since his UCF days. And for a high tackle, Fort Lauderdale themselves a penalty. Suarez will likely just put this one to touch, and does with the left foot. There's a line out throw by Nicholas Cook, former Cardinal Gibbons, one of the founding members of that team back in 2014. Will be a free kick here at the line out. Pelly's maybe an early lift. Number one jumper, says Jason Browning. Jarrett Garton will look to clear his 22 here for the Pellies, and does so effectively. Will be a white ball. Was a free kick inside the 22, so they're allowed to kick straight to touch. And the line out will be where the ball across the touchline, but it will go to Fort Lauderdale. It was meant for Hayal, but Rocky Miates off to the races. Deeb did not have been held in that tackle, so was allowed to get back up. Now poached by Andrew Cook, but after the ruck had formed, not releasing, says Jason Browning. Suarez, just like he did a few seconds ago, will put this one into touch. Chance for Fort Lauderdale to extend their lead here. Come out well in the second half, despite being a man down. Harry Sadoun with perhaps a couple of minutes still left on his yellow card that he got with 4 minutes or so left in the first half. Captain and number 10 for the Knights. Here's Hansen, spins it wide to Nickel, the try scorer. That was a floated pass, a hospital pass from Mikel Facey. And as a result, Facey can't control it. We've seen better passes in Sean Nickel's career. Asked Lauderdale, the Lauderdale coach, also another former referee, so 2 games in a row with former referees coaching. He said, we're going to win this game, he said, we're going to need to do what we do in practice. We have a very simple plan. So we can't just be heroes, we just have to make the right decisions. And the core of this Fort Lauderdale team has been around for a few years. This is Rodatero's first year as the Knights coach. He's really got them going in the right direction since taking over before last season. Another sloppy pass, this time from Delaney. And this one goes into touch off the Knights. And out for a Pelly's lineout. Well, this game's been as tight as we expected it to be. First game today never got within a try after the first 20 minutes or so, and Lauderdale turning over. Heil now, making the break, looks for Hansen, finds him. Crosses over the 22. Poor set piece play by Pelly's once again. And now here's the 8-man Cruzado. Sadoun back on the pitch now after that yellow card. It's expired, he gets it back from Nickel. Spins out of a tackle. 15 meters out, right in front of the post. Here's Nickel again, the try scorer, right at the end of the first half. Good piece of play here by Lauderdale, going through the phases. Looking for a soft spot in that Pelly's defense. Ball now is slow. There's Cruzado going nowhere. And that was Christian Gonzalez there, perhaps with the carry. Here's Sadoun now, back inside. Lauderdale looking to get it across the line. They're so close. Right in front of that left-hand post. His Suarez now out to Sadoun. It's a poor pass though. There is an offside advantage, I think, for Lauderdale. Delaney, and he'll get over the line for the try. Shaden Delaney finds pay dirt. And puts Fort Lauderdale up 17-11 here. 6 or so minutes into this second half. They do have their kicker back on the field now, as here comes Vince Booth, T-delivery man, extraordinaire that he is. 6-time Florida State champion Vince Booth. I'm sure we'll see him in the second half, a familiar face to many in Florida rugby over the years. 5-time champion with UCF, 1 with Fort Lauderdale. He's won Savannah 6 times. Sadoun now. 8 or so meters in from this right touchline. Wind is gusting. Here's the Frenchman with the strike. And it's a good one. Sneaks inside the post. 19-11 now in favor of the Knights. Can the Pellies answer here? So their D3 team lose in the first game today, the D3 title game to Brevard. They won back-to-back championships, the Red Eyes. And now the D2 side find themselves down in this one. So we got another offside advantage in favor of Lauderdale. Sadoun swings it to Nickel. Nickel breaks the tackle again, looks for support and finds it. But we're going to come back. Well, I'm not sure if that was a forward pass, perhaps. I do see that was Corey Fryer with the carry, number 17. He's in the game. Didn't see who for. Don't forget to stick around. 2 o'clock today, the women's D2 final between Fort Miami and Tampa. That should be a good one as well. Fort Miami, much improved this season under new coach Lindsey Corrin. They'll certainly give Tampa all they can handle in that 2 o'clock match. And then the last game of the day at 4 o'clock, St. Thomas University against Florida State men for the FCC D1 title. The D2 game is going to kick off in a minute behind me between UNF and Ave Maria. So we'll restart here with a line out for the Knights on the Pelly's 40 meter line, 10 meter line, 40 meters out. We'll get there in the end. Well down now with a two score advantage. So we have not straight perhaps. Yeah, not straight on that throw in by Nicholas Cook. Will be a scrum option for the Pellies, and they will take that scrum. Look to get something going here. We've been a bit stop-start over these last 10 minutes. I have to reset this one. Jason Browning trying to get things sorted at the scrum. Third time lucky here on the set piece. Good hold by Pellies under pressure. Shane Wagner trying to make something happen, and another high tackle for Fort Lauderdale. Not the first one of the night, of the afternoon I should say. Shane Wagner, big physical presence at that 13 spot, can also kick as well. Certainly one to watch out for, only 24 years old. Man out of Maine, mentioned the Free Jacks Academy. This one does make touch. Just over the other side of the bleachers here. Kyle Vanderventer's flag went up, and it will be a Pelly's ball, as it was their penalty. Some in the crowd disagreed with that high tackle decision by Jason Browning. Of course, now the sternum is the preferred tackle height level. Pelly's go to the back. Barman looking for support, went left, then went right. That allowed the Lauderdale defense to get up. As Andrew Cook spins it at the back of his hand, perhaps not wisely. Carvajal taken down, trying to find some space. Here's Barman again, being dragged along by Shax. Now wide to Colby Clayton. Said his name in a while. And yet another high tackle. There certainly has to be a warning here. You would have to think from Jason Browning. That's two in the space of a minute. Nothing overly dangerous. But Lauderdale got to get lower on these tackles. And they're going to go for posts here. They're a long way out and into the wind. We've seen the boot on Shea Wagner. Wagner, the NCR All-American, NCR D2 Sevens champ, also the 2024 NCR D2 MVP while at Maine. That earned him a spot at the Free Jacks Academy, now down here in Florida playing his trade. Wagner from 40 plus. Struck well. And right through the posts. Reduces the deficit to just an unconverted try now. Lauderdale 19, Pellies 14. Big thumping kick there by Shea Wagner. Still plenty left in his leg there. He could have gone back another 5 or 10 meters, you'd think. Even into the wind. It's kind of a gusting wind. It's not steady. It does blow hard at times, but Shea Wagner didn't care as Harry Sadoun gets his restarted again here. Looks like Trustin Perkins in the game, number 19. I'm not getting substitutes fed to me, I apologize. So when I see a new number on the field, I'll let you know. Hatriff. Good up and under. But here's the man Facey. He'll send it right back in to the Pellies. 22, Carvajal does just enough. And here's Hansen now as the kick tennis stops for a second. Suarez burrowing his way under a couple of tackles. That's a big tackle there by Andrew Cook, the Welshman. Driving the Knights player back. Suarez digging. Here's Sadoun, nickel. No room for him to run there. Alex Cook being told to release. A bit of a shoving match going on between Hatriff and Mikel Facey. I'm not sure Mikel Facey is a man I'd want to be in a scrap with. Jason Browning going to call Captain Shackleton over. Shackleton Stewart, that is. Have a word with him. Kicking tee is on. Harry Sadoun with the wind here. Perhaps about 32.5 meters out. He's going to have a go here. Try and get that 8-point lead back. As somebody on Lauderdale just reminded his teammates, this ball is live. We'll see short posts, so not a ton of real estate to hit for Harry Sadoun. Frenchman steps up and slots it through. Lauderdale get their 8-point lead back here with about 23 minutes plus remaining in this second half. Poised nicely this D2 championship game. Mind Lauderdale led 12-11 at the half after that late first half try by Sean Nicol. Outscored Pellies 10-3 in this half now to take a 22-14 lead. Pellies fans starting to get a bit rowdy, trying to G their team on. Avoid going 0-2 today, as that one does not bounce in, but goes straight out. Big mistake there by the Pellies. We'll come back here for a scrum choice, I would assume. Yeah. Not the way to answer a score by kicking it straight into touch. And that's what the Pellies have done. See Mark Renaudot on at loose head for the Pellies, as well as Brian Kennedy here on this near side wing. So some changes. We've also got a new fullback, Charlie Hutchings, back there. Here's Nicol with a head start. Runs through 2 tackles. Can't get through Ratliff, excuse me. Hatriff. I also see James Allen on there for the Pellies. So a number of substitutions for today's home team on the scoreboard as the number 1 seed. Harry Sadoun with a lovely dummy. Only a half break though, brought down just inside the Pelly's 10-meter-yard line. Hansen, that's a massive tackle. James Allen with the big hit. Lauderdale still have it. Here's Chad Tiernan. Haven't said his name much today. He's had a couple of good carries though, as that's a strip. But there was advantage being played. It looks like Jason Browning will go all the way over to the far side for a Fort Lauderdale, and we will have another discussion. Will Jason Browning be going to the pocket again here? He's going to have a word with Captain Shackleton Stewart, and it will be a yellow card for the new loose head, Mark Redenow. So we're going to have the old scrum substitution situation when we do have a scrum, because now they are down a front row player in Mark Redenow, who had just come off the bench recently. Will Harry Sadoun give this one a boot? He's a long way out, but does have the wind. No, it looks like he's just going to go for touch on that far side. And he makes it inside the Pelly's 22. Hansen with the take at the line out. Nickel out the back door to Delaney, looking for Facey. There he is. Taken down by a host of Pelicans, but Lauderdale inside the 22. Knights looking to make this a 3-score game potentially. Lovely inside run there. Sadoun gets tackled late. He's down on the ground fighting. We've got some shenanigans going on elsewhere, but we're focused inside the 5 here. Knights trying to extend their lead here against the Pellies. Sadoun was taken down late by Andrew Cook. Some whoops up, go up from the far side, but no signal from Jason Browning. Got the binoculars out here. Sean Nickel trying to get in on the short side. Another run. Still short are the Knights. Now they're going to go left again. And the signal is up. It's a try for the Knights. And this time it's the 8-man, Luis Cruzado, who extends the Knights' lead to 13 points at 27-14. This is what the Knights have been doing over these last few weeks, putting up a number of points. This Pelly's defense has held relatively well so far today, but is that the try that opens the floodgates? We'll have to see. The next score will certainly have to be by Bay Area if they're going to try and get back in this game. Harry Sadoun now with the conversion attempt from his favorite side as a right footer. Line drive is good. Harry Sadoun makes it a 29-14 game in favor of Fort Lauderdale, and Bay Area Pellies are in some real trouble here. Don't forget, as we said, stick around at 2 p.m. for the women's final between Fort Miami and Tampa. Should be a good one. Split the series between the two sides in the regular season. So by our clock, 17 minutes remaining here for Pellies to try and get back in this game. They have to get the next score in this contest. Good claim by Tiernan on his 22-yard line. Lauderdale now will certainly look to keep ball in hand, you'd think. Milk some time. They won't want to play the game down in their own 22 though. There's no doubt about that. They are running the ball though out of there. I think perhaps Harry Sadoun will want to get a foot on this and get it out of there. Now another carry, tight carry. I think Cruzado again there. Former USA South Panther in the RAN men's U19s. They won that tournament back in Kingston. And the ball is lost but picked up by a Knights player. taking valuable seconds off the clock here. Now they do finally go back to Sadoun, who puts the foot on it. Back there is Charlie Hutchings. Gets it, the second attempt. And the second will be a high tackle, and Hutchings goes quick. Another high tackle perhaps. Yes, it will be. And now will we see a card, or at least a warning? Jason Browning stopping the clock. Looks like perhaps it will just be a warning. He's talking to Captain Harry Sadoun and saying, next one perhaps will find himself in the bin. Charlie Hutchings isn't tall by any means. Looks like we may see a yellow card. We will, and it will be Sean Nicol, the centre. That's a big decision made by Jason Browning. Nicol will miss the next 10 minutes now. Is that the decision that perhaps turns the tide here in this second half? Kelly's line out just outside the Fort Lauderdale 22-meter line. Going with the four-man. Claim there by Marinkovic. It will be a penalty in favor of Pellies. And now we got a bit of a shove. And they're going to reverse the penalty. Silly decision there by the Pellies player to retaliate. I didn't get a number. It is number 18. Will be penalized. James Allen with the retaliation on the Knights player, and he is penalized. And the reversal by Jason Browning. Very silly decision there by Allen. Although the ball is kept in play just by Charlie Hutchings, former crewman, as he knocks this one downfield. Sadoun claims well. He's had a good solid day today, Sadoun, other than the yellow card. There's Delaney skipping back to Sadoun. Finds the turf though. Now here's Mikel Facey looking to find some space for the first time in a while. He does find Isaiah Williams, who is taken into touch. Another high tackle, this time against Pellies. They're incensed by that decision. Both teams just getting a little sloppy here in these final 15 minutes with the tackle height. Sadoun puts this one into touch. Under 14 minutes remaining in this one. Good claim by Heil at the front of the line out. Got a new scrum half in for Fort Lauderdale as this one finds the turf and is rolling back towards the Lauderdale 22. Giancarlo Calogero, the new scrum half for Fort Lauderdale from Sicily, Italy. Nice, that's who my roster says it is. Take that back, it is Andres Bonilla on a scrum half for Fort Lauderdale in the 22 jersey. Put in for Pellies now. Can they somehow get this ball into Fort Lauderdale territory? Wagner on his own, no support whatsoever, chips it ahead. I think Allen was offside perhaps, but no call. He takes the, yeah, it is going to be offside there, yeah. Does certainly look like he was in front of the kicker. Referee Jason Browning going to have a discussion with his Assistant referee on that far side, Scott Duval. Should be a penalty where the player was offside. Instead, we're going to come back for a penalty for the Pellies. Perhaps something before that play. Maybe the kicker was taken out. Can the Pellies turn this possession and territory into some points? If they can't do so quickly, this game, that didn't look straight from this angle. Jason Browning looked at his AR, but no signal. Play on. Allen with the heavy carry again. Trying to redeem himself for that silly penalty reversal a few minutes ago. Lauderdale with a counter ruck, but Jason Browning says coming in from the side on the Knights. Knights under pressure now, resorting to skullduggery at the breakdown. You'd have to think with 10 minutes remaining here, the Pellies really need to score here from this line out deep inside Fort Lauderdale territory. Down 3 scores at the moment, 29-14, excuse me. Down 15 points. They need to get something from this visit to the Knights 22, preferably a try. As I said, we'll have a couple of substitutions here. Maybe not. So we will restart play here with the line out. Ball taken by Arush Marinkovic. Pelicans edging near to the try line now, trying to get it over and down. Can they do so? Knights defense holding strong. Great defense by Federico Segol, but in goes the Pellies. They have cut the deficit. Trying to get a number on the try. And the conversion by Wagner is true. Pelicans visit the 22, get 7 points. Now only down 29-21. It was number 21 with the try, Mitch Houston. Now how will Fort Lauderdale respond? Making a couple of substitutions themselves. I'll let you know about them in a second when I can read their numbers when they get a little closer to me. Sadoun with the drop kick. Goes deep. It's a good one. Also a good catch though by Siraj Ali. There's Barmore up the middle. Hatriff spins it wide. Here come the Pellies now, down this left touchline. Questions of a late tackle perhaps. Yes, it will be. Brian Kennedy was taken out by the substitute Calogero, and so it will be a penalty where that ball landed. It'll be taken quickly by Wagner. Wagner to the 22. Pellies smelling blood here. Testing this Knight's depth. Do we have a knock forward though? We got some shenanigans going on here just inside the 22. It's Hutchings now. Retrieves this kick just inside the Fort Lauderdale half. Surveying his options. Skips around one tackle. Finds Ali. He's immediately taken down though. Now Shackleton Stewart with the carry. It's penalty advantage, Pellies. Allen. Pass to absolutely no one. Didn't even look. And we'll come back for the penalty advantage for Pelicans, who now have the momentum in this game. They've tilted the pitch in their favour. There's a knock on by Fort Lauderdale. It will be a scrum down Pellies. About 30 metres out from that Lauderdale Knights line, which they'll need to cross. We've got a player down for Fort Lauderdale. It is the 8-man Cruzado, the 20-year-old. A lot of responsibility on his shoulders, starting as an 8-man at the age of 20 in the D2 Championship game. Sean Nicoll is back on the pitch for Fort Lauderdale. So Knights back to full strength. They have made some changes up front. Looks like Nicoll will actually come off now. Came out of the sin bin, unless he came on early. Not sure what's going on here. I'm trying to see if Lauderdale 1, 2, 3. With only, they do have 7 backs, so it looks like there's some confusion regarding substitutions. Whether Sean was substituted off while he was in the sin bin. So anyway, restarting here, probably with still about 6 minutes remaining in this one. Pellies trying to make this a 1-score game. We're going to have to reset. Some issues on the left side of this scrum there. Mark Renato also out of the sin bin. So both teams now back to full strength. Bit of an early shove on the far side by Lauderdale, and it's going to be a penalty for Pelicans. Atref finds Mitch Houston, the try scorer. Here's Robert Perkins, Trustin Perkins. Good carry there by the big man. Here's Barman, skips by 1 tackle, and another one. Then is driven back. Pellies will try the right side now. Hatriff skipping around Lauderdale arm tackles. Hutchings. Good pressure defense by the Knights. Got Charlie Hutchings in some trouble here, but Pellies will retain possession. Stewart slips inside to Kennedy. Inside the 22 once again. The big boys rumbling. Nick St. Clair, the Frenchie. Pelicans still advancing. Hatref inside to Houston. Big physical runner. We do have a penalty advantage again for Pellies. As Garden tries the little outside of the foot chip over the top here. Now what do Pellies do here? They're down 8. They need 2 scores. Do you take the points here? Jason Browning going to have a chat with somebody else now from Fort Lauderdale. Talking to Captain Harry Sadu, telling things to calm down. And what do you do here as Pellies? Do you take the points? I think you probably do. Although, do you try to go with this momentum? The decision is points. As Shane Wagner, been solid today from the tee, looks to make this a 1-score game. Certainly a very makeable kick for a man of Wagner's quality, and he slots it through. Cuts the deficit to 5, 24, 29. Clock says 90 seconds, but referee Jason Browning signaling seems to be appearing signal that there are 5 minutes remaining. We do have a number of stoppages. 5 minutes, says Jason Browning. Again, the clock on the scoreboard does not stop when the referee stops the clock, so that makes it just about right. 5 minutes left in this one. 29-24 Pellies. Sadoun goes deep. Hutchings claims it. Little dummy. We've seen those so many over the years from Charlie Hutchings back in his days as a scrum half on the West Coast. Barman, he's gone the distance tonight at hooker for Pellies. Hatriff out wide. Now Kennedy, he cuts back inside. Taken down by Tiernan. Chad Tiernan wants to start with Cardinal Gibbons. One off to play at Bucknell. High school All-American back in 2017-18. And now we will have a yellow card for Fort Lauderdale as Corey Frio is sent to the bin. I'm not sure what for, perhaps repeated offences. So Fort Lauderdale will be down a man for the rest of regulation here. Of course, there's potential for this one to go to overtime if the Pellies do score an unconverted try. We still have 4 minutes remaining, says Jason Browning. Jarrett Garton does get to touch, barely. Harry Sadoun tried to keep it in, but all the momentum now in favor of the Mason Navy. But you know Fort Lauderdale aren't just going to roll over here. It's been a long time since either of these teams has won a title. Pelicans runner-up to Tridents so often recently. Can they be the bride this time? Here's Allen. Almost runs over referee Jason Browning, and another penalty advantage. Harry Sadoun asking what for. Pellies going right. Wagner taken down. Now they'll come back to the left. Ball drops, but it goes backwards. Now what do you do if you're Pellies? Do you take the points here again? I don't think so. I don't think there's enough time for that. They have to take the point. They're going to take the scrum instead of putting it to touch. An interesting decision here by Graham Canoop's men. They'll be making noise back in South Africa if the Pellies can pull this one off. It's down to 3 minutes remaining now by my count. Scrum Pellies just outside the Fort Lauderdale 22. Remember, Knights down to 14 men. Thanks to the yellow for Corey Froyo, the former Okapi man. Off goes Cook from the back of the scrum. Cook out wide to Wagner. Wagner cut down 10 meters short. Comes, ball's loose, but it went backwards. Lauderdale defense holding strong. Nick St. Clair, now the turnover. It's been stolen by the Knights. Defense wins championships, they say. Has this Fort Lauderdale defense just won themselves a championship? Definitely a maul here. And they're going to say it was taken in by Fort Lauderdale and not used. Harry Sadoun asking perhaps, did the maul stop once or twice? What if we knew this game had the potential to be a doozy, and it's lived up to all expectations here. So will be a scrum Pellies right in front of the Fort Lauderdale posts, about 17 meters out. Everything will have to be crisp and clean here at the set piece, and it is. Gets a bit loose at the back though. Out to Wagner. Wagner to Kennedy. Kennedy, can he get in the corner? No, he can't. He's forced back inside. By the good scrambling defense from Fort Lauderdale. Pelly's still with it. Barman, that's a huge tackle. He kind of fell into it, so it looked worse than it was. Allen now, can he get it out wide? Great defense again from Fort Lauderdale, scrambling across. Got to be careful not to stray offside. Perhaps get another yellow card. Here's Marinkovic. Pelly's won it wide left, and they will get it. They do have numbers. There's Houston now. Out wide again. Can he get in the corner? There's no signal. It was Robert Trustin Perkins trying to get into the corner. There's some calls that he dropped it from the fans. I can't see because the tents are blocking me. And that's the end of the game. Fort Lauderdale are your Division II Florida men's state champions. Pelly's fall to 0-2 on the day. Unfortunately, the last bit of action happened behind the tents where I couldn't see, but clearly the player didn't get it down. No real complaints from the Pellys on the decision from Jason Browning. Your final score, Fort Lauderdale 29, Bay Area Pelican 24. Your final score in this D2 men's championship. Congrats to Fort Lauderdale, their first title in quite a while. Rod Otero, a champion in his first year as head coach for the Knights, and they're celebrating as they should. Unfortunately for the Pellys, they go 0-2 here today. Well, stick with us. We'll be back in 25 minutes or so with the women's D2 state final between Fort Miami and Tampa. Once again, my name is Ross Davenport. Thanks for joining us on YouTube here. Your final score, Fort Lauderdale Knights 29, Bay Area Pelican 24.